or online at lakedoctor.com. Injured, hurt, unable to work? For a free evaluation, go to overchuckbyron.com.
Let's go to the phones on the situation in Libya and the Middle East and what, if anything, you believe we should do. You've heard from the Budman. Now, let's bring Tim on from Orlando. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for waiting.
Good morning, Bud. I think it was after World War II that it was decided that the entire globe should be divided up into commands to be monitored and policed by the U.S. military, which I'm not saying that's a bad plan, but as you said, we just don't have the resources and the manpower to do that.
And it's 65 years after World War II. You know, I mean, it's a different world, a different situation, and you're quite right. I mean, you know, we weren't a dead, busted, broke nation, and now we got two wars that we're struggling to succeed in fully. So you're with me on this. It's not that you're turning into a linguini-spined liberal, nor am I. But come on, we do have our limits, and we need to recognize we can't save the world, particularly now.
Right, and we need to limit, we have enough entangling alliances as it is.
Would you support U.S. participation just as a player in a NATO-driven no-fly zone?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
So do I. Thank you very much. Here's Darlene in Orlando. Good morning, Darlene.
Hi, Bud. Since the last two wars, which I was in favor of, kind of come to the conclusion that you can't buy freedom for somebody else. They have to earn it, so they'll respect it and care for it. So a no-fly zone, maybe, but it seems like, you know, the more we help, the more they want to hate us, and they don't respect our people dying for their freedom.
Well, that's another reason why we can't be the Lone Ranger on going after Libya. Because I think that you raise a great point here, Darlene, and I've raised it before on the show, but let me reaffirm that I think that the negative fallout throughout the Middle East, where we do have to have a presence and we have interests, oil, believe me, we can't be the only one going in there to deal with this situation with Gaddafi.
Well, and the other thing that I just can't get the pictures out of my head is when they took the Lockerbie bomber, they just like they hated us. Well, now they need us, but in 20 minutes they'll hate us again. And it's like, you know, my dad told me you have to earn freedom so you respect it, and I'm really coming over to that.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you so much for listening and for calling. I want to get on to what's happening here in the Florida legislature. Teacher merit pay. I thought it might pass the Senate yesterday. Didn't happen. But I'll tell you what is going on there and what's going to happen as we continue. All of this starts in 1 minute. Now at 6:22, here is your update with some heavy weather on the way for the rush hour. Let's check real-time traffic and weather together on the twos. I'm looking at Doppler radar right now and crossing 75 and heading for the I-4 corridor right now. Moderate to heavy rainfall, so watch out for that. We're not done yet on this frontal system. We're looking for showers and storms this morning. At times they could be heavy. This afternoon the front goes through, it clears, and it starts getting cooler from a high of only 70, and real cool weather coming up the next couple of nights. We're sitting at 60 degrees with scattered showers in the area, but the heavy stuff coming our way. Okay, now let's get back to the situation here stateside. We've got a lot to talk about in the course of the day. There is big news related to unions in Wisconsin and Idaho, which I'm going to get to in the next half hour, and you have to hear that on the backside of the Wall Street Journal report. But let me say this. In Tallahassee yesterday, where they've now begun to get up to full speed in the 60-day legislative session, in the Senate, they debated the teacher merit pay reform, And the Democrats issued amendments and all sorts of things, but they do not have the votes to get anything done right now. The midterm elections really do have consequences for the Democrat Party in the state of Florida. It is all about the dominant Republican majorities veto-proof, if we had to worry about a veto, which on this stuff you don't with Rick Scott because he will sign merit pay. We know that in both the House and the Senate. Now, what else has been going on in the legislative session? In the House, and Michelle was touching on this in the news, and I'm not going to spend much time on it here, but the lawmakers advanced a plan to scale back unemployment benefits for laid-off workers in a package that also tries to tackle the huge $2 billion in federal debt incurred paying benefits to out-of-work Floridians over the last 2 years. You know, and the Democrats are screaming and they're saying that the Republicans are heartless and they don't care about the plight of unemployed Floridians. Absolutely, we do. But how long are we going to carry people when they are out of work? How long are the taxpayers supposed to be responsible, the working taxpayers, for picking up the tab for those who, for whatever reason, legitimate or not, can't find work for 2 years? I mean, the party is over. It cannot be business as usual. Rick Scott had said it surprisingly eloquently in his State of the State. Government can't provide what too many people have come to expect. It can't be done anymore. The money is not there. The game needs to change. And so far, I believe that people have the courage in Tallahassee to make the changes that need to be made. And Rick Scott looked the legislature in the eye at the State of the State in a line that will live for all time in Florida. When he looked at him and he said, you're going to be under the gun, you're going to be under pressure, special interests, don't blink. Don't blink. And so far, they haven't, but there is a long way to go. Something I want to talk to you about tomorrow in greater depth is also come up in Tallahassee, and that is this. There is a measure that will change what the status is of felons after they serve their sentence in the state of Florida. And we've had this debate before. You've paid your debt to society. That's exactly how we phrase it. But in the state of Florida, you have to apply to get your full rights back, voting rights, etc. The Florida legislature, and they're taking heed on this, Rick Scott says, don't blink. They've lengthened the time that you have to wait before you can apply for the restoration of those rights. I have really mixed emotions about that, and we are going to be talking about it at length on this show tomorrow. I've paid my debt to society means exactly that. If I owe Jenna $5,000 and I pay her $5,000, she cannot come back to me and say, Bud man, give me another $1,000. No, I've paid my debt to Jenna. If I'm a felon, I've served my prison time, whatever else is provided for under the sentence, and I've paid my debt to society. I don't owe society anymore. Then why in the world are they now in Tallahassee making it tougher for felons who've paid their debt to society to be fully rehabilitated and functioning members of that same society? It seems illogical to me, based on the concept of you pay your debt to society. You pay your debt to somebody else, they don't come back and say, you still owe me more money. You paid your debt. We're going to have that debate tomorrow on the show, and I'm going to make some of you really mad, which is always fun. Wake you up right here on the 50,000-watt front porch. Agree or disagree. Coming up, the Wall Street Journal, and then the huge news out of Wisconsin on the union front. Have you heard this? You will. Stay with me. 628. Good morning.
Auto AutoZone. Driving with old motor oil can slowly kill your engine. Protect it with help from AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Now at AutoZone, get a 5+ quart oil change jug of Pennzoil conventional motor oil and a Fram Extra Guard oil filter for just $17.99. Or upgrade to Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and a Fram Tough Guard oil filter for just $2 more. See store for restrictions and details. Get more life out of your engine. Get to AutoZone today. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
If you own or manage a business that relies on a high-speed internet connection, and if you're tired of trying to make consumer internet work for your business, consider moving up to business class internet from AirPowered. AirPowered can move you up to business class for a lot less than you imagined. In fact, a fraction of what the phone company charges for T1 lines. AirPowered gives you all the speed you need without the hesitations, delays, and erratic behavior of typical consumer internet connections. And when you move up to business class, you can go as fast as you want. Virtually no limits. No wonder why more and more businesses are calling AirPowered for dependable, military-proven, super high speeds. Business class for not much more than consumer class. Call AirPowered now at 866-933-0285. 866-933-0285. You can also click onto airpowered.com and get all the facts. Move up to business class internet at airpowered.com.
Some advice for you guys out by UCF. If you're hanging out at one of those warm beer, greasy food happy hours and wondering where the ladies are, take a lesson. Houlihan's UCF, where it's happy hour all day, every day, and where the small plate menu has big tastes at a small price. Ladies love Houlihan's UCF. Special events nightly, and Monday is ladies' night with free Imperial vodka for the ladies from 6 to 9. UCF only. And don't miss the UCF area's best St. Patrick's Day party. Only at Houlihan's, University Boulevard at UCF. Class dismissed.
Bud Henninger Live continues with news from the Fox Orlando News Center on 540 WFLA.
Tenure will not be available for instructional personnel hired on or after July 1, 2011. Tenure harms students who have been assigned an ineffective teacher while the legal process grinds along.
The bill would also change the way teachers are paid, making half of teachers' salary based on the performance of their students. Shuttle Discovery is on the ground and preparing to be decommissioned after her 39th and final flight came to a close yesterday. The shuttle will be heading to the Smithsonian in months to come. Now Kennedy Space Center officials looking forward to 2 remaining flights in the program. Bill Gerstenmaier, head of NASA Space Operations, has no doubts in how the processing, launch, and mission management teams will handle things.
They will do a great job of getting these vehicles ready to go fly, and we'll close out the shuttle program the way it deserves to be closed out on an extremely high note.
They'll try to roll Endeavour off of the launch pad tonight. It was supposed to go yesterday, but stormy weather delayed it. Rollout set for 8 this evening. The launch set for Endeavour April 19th. Rain in Florida has been a hit or miss proposition. When it arrives, it's generally as part of a fierce system that doesn't stay long enough for a proper drenching. Randy Smith of South Florida Water Management District says that's made this recent period the driest on record.
The period from October through February was the driest of that period since record keeping began in 1932. February rainfall for the district from Orlando south measured only 15% of its historical average for February.
That puts the district, which stretches from Orlando to the Keys, behind the 8 ball. Things are expected to get worse before they improve, and the region could see tighter watering restrictions. Dwight Howard returned from a 1-game suspension to score 16 as the Magic defeated the Sacramento Kings 106-102. 540 WFLA News Time 6:32. I'm Michelle Murillo. Get these stories and more at 540WFLA.com. Coming up, more BHL.
From the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center, not seeing any delays along I-4 so far this morning, although authorities are on scene of a much earlier crash along Poinciana Boulevard. This has the roadway blocked at Indian Point Boulevard between Orrin Brown Road and OBT. Be a good idea to take Hoagland Boulevard as your alternate. Reports of a rollover northbound along the Turnpike at mile marker 282. This is before the US 27 and 19 exit. The left lane blocked here. And a slow spot with a wreck taking up a lane along 436 at Lake Brantley Road. From the Traffic Center, I'm Courtney Bright.
Traffic reports on air, online, a service of Trustco Bank.
Need a mortgage for a limited time? No application or pre-approval fee. Plus no points,
Good
no PMI.
morning, Mike. Awesome, how are you? All right, we'll be ready.